let's chat about how we can make sure that we don't crush our diets when we're eating on the go. Now, most of the time when we're talking about eating on the go, we're talking about fast food, okay? We're talking about business dinners. We're talking about gas stations, family get-togethers, and we're talking about dates, okay? These are pretty much where the majority of the times that we fall off our nutrition. These are pretty much the situations that happens in. And the reason that this happens in, it happens in these places, is because of convenience, right? And convenience gets the best of us and is the devil on our shoulder because we don't plan. So how can we get through these situations and not wreck our diet, right? The easiest way to do this is to make sure that we have a little bit of pre-planning. Now, the way that we're going to pre-plan is we're going to break down all of these places into a few things, okay? So first and foremost, when we're at home, if you're meal prepping, you can do nutrition pretty easy. If you're willing to spend the money to have somebody else do it for you or ship it to your house, or you do it yourself on the time side, you can do it either relatively cheap or relatively quick. You cannot do it good, cheap, and quick. You can only pick two of the three. So if we're talking about here, right, all of this is quick, right, where we don't have to do too much. But that means that we only, if it's quick, we can only pick, right, cheap or good. So it's already quick, right, all of these situations, but can we get it cheap or good, right? We've got kind of an option. Now, if you look at somewhere like fast food, perhaps this is more of like a cheap option. Business food dinners, sometimes it's a, it's a quick, but it's not cheap. So you can get good, it's just a little expensive, right? Gas stations usually are going to be cheap and quick, okay? They're family get-togethers. This is not going to usually be quick. Maybe you're going to walk into a place where food is already done, but perhaps this is going to be cheap and good or cheap and quick, okay, and not good. This is one where a lot of people get hung up because they get a little sentimental, right? They get a little sentimental with grandma trying to give you peach cobbler and all the ice cream in the damn world, and that's not going to help you. And dates, ladies and gentlemen, dates, right? You should not have to put on fat just because you want to be out here and date, right? Just because you're going to go and you're going to have alcohol, right? And you're going to have fattier appetizers, et cetera, right? Just because you're trying to date and find a partner or find a partner for the night, you shouldn't have to then gain weight at the same time. So let's kind of break this down. In all of these scenarios, there's a few steps that we can make sure that we do not wreck our nutrition. And what it's going to start with is you're going to go in this order of macronutrient, okay? And we've gone over macros and what they are and how you can count them and how you can find them. That's on my YouTube channel. You can go look at that. But we're going to break things down into, right? Number one step here is to organize your meals and order your meals based on this premise, right? So it's going to be protein first. It's going to be leafy and green veggies second. Right? And then third is going to be a carb source. And you're like, James, what about the fat? Okay? You're going to skip fat. Okay, so let's break this down real quick. So, this is number one here. Protein is going to be first. Leafy and green veggies are going to be second. Carb source is going to be third. Now, this can be a veggie carb source. This can be also legumes. It could be a grain. It could be something else. That's totally fine. Let's do our very best to skip higher fat foods when we're eating out. And let me tell you why. Because the fat is something that you usually cannot control, right? How much fat is in any of these things, right? Because in dates, fast food, and business food, you're talking about being at a restaurant, whether it be fast or slow, being at a restaurant, and most times to have food come out at a certain speed, you're cooking in a lot of oil. So you have no idea how much fat is actually in the food, right? How much fat based on the amount of oil that's drizzled on everything and cooked in it. And most of the time, people are cooking on flat tops, which requires a lot of oil, as opposed to the grill, which doesn't really require oil. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of ways that can happen. Now, this is just A. So we're going to go protein first. You're going to potentially even order 1.5 servings of the protein, right? And then load your plate up with leafy and green veggies, right? And be light on the dressing, because usually that's where a lot of fat is too, right? And then go a third carb source. So maybe have a serving of potatoes, a serving of rice, a serving of chickpeas, a little bit higher fat. All right, so be careful there, because a lot of times those are doused in olive oil. But nonetheless, protein first, 1 to 1.5 portions, right? I would aim for 4 to 8 ounces, right? If you're a lady, if you're a man, I would probably rock somewhere between 8 to 12 ounces, right? Again, look, not medical advice. Do what you want to do. That's just what I found to be very easy for me. And then leafy and green veggies, you can usually do it on a bed of leafy and green veggies. So arugula, spinach, kale, etc. You can get cruciferous, right? You can also jump into some cruciferous veggies, right? And grab some broccoli or grab some cauliflower. That's totally fine. I would really try to go leafy and green, the majority of your plate leafy and green, and then have large portions of protein. Go carb third, right? And then again, skip the fat. So that's going to be the first step to this. Step number 2. Oh man, my markers, what is happening? What is happening? Step number 2, or B on this chart right now, is that we're going to be looking at the way that we're cooking these things. So not only our carb source, right, sometimes, depending on what it is, but our protein, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be trying to grill, right, bake, or steam protein. Okay? You want to see if by any stretch of the imagination, you can get your protein source to be grilled, baked, or steamed. Why? Because if it's fried, tons of oil. If it's grilled with shite tons of oil, same kind of thing, right? Grill, bake, or steam the protein. That'll keep our calories down from fat, our calories down from breading, which is extra carbs, and also gluten. A lot of people have intolerances to stuff going on around here. So we're going to go protein first, leafy and green veggies second, carb source third, skip the fat. Then we're going to ask for the protein to be grilled, baked, or steamed, right? That is going to be the way that we're going to go from there. And then C here is that we're going to skip the desserts. We're just going to go there and apps, okay? We're going to skip the desserts and apps. And the reason we're going to do that is because most of the times in both of these places, we're going high fat, high carb, okay? So the things that you usually put on the table, right? And a lot of times are high sugar with the carbs being higher. And so it's very easy to fill up calories, empty calories on this type of stuff, and then not actually eat as much protein as we could have to stay on track for our goals. So when we're eating out, this third step here is to skip desserts and appetizers, right? And an easy way to do this specifically is to eat before you actually go out. So having a little protein shake before you go out with your friends and go to dinner, solid way to not only save a lot of money, but then also make sure that you don't overeat on nonsense, right? So we're going to skip dessert and appetizers, okay? We're going to limit alcohol, okay? A lot of empty calories come in with alcohol consumption. Now, can you not drink? Or can you drink? You can absolutely drink. You're a grown adult. Do what you want to do. I can't stop you from doing that, but I will say that if you limit it, you're going to be better off than if you just continue to consume it and not pay any attention to it. So we've got the order of operations for how we're going to order the food, how we want to ask for our protein sources, what we're going to skip, and D, we're going to limit alcohol. And then E, right? A, B, C, D, E. This is, right, E. Okay. This is kind of like a little bonus right here, because it's not something that you have to do every single time, but it would be something that I would recommend that you look at if you're really trying to be regimented in your day-to-day. Most people, when they're trying to, get food with you, go to a business lunch, drive through the gas station, you go into family get-togethers or dates. I mean, the desire there is to get to know the other person, to spend time with the other person, have quality of life with the other person. It's not to watch you eat. So do not feel weird at all of either, planning to eat ahead or bringing your own. And I know that some of you are going to say, well, grandma makes me, well, mom makes me, well, this, that, and the other. And that's cool. And if you want to keep believing that lie that you're telling yourself, that's cool. I used to believe the same thing. I will tell you that it's better to offend grandma and not have a bite of everything that she cooks. It's better to do that than just to get diabetes. Okay? If your family is anything like mine, at family get-togethers, we have high sugar, right, and high fat everything.